Hey all, you're with QuorraBuilt and this is the QuorraBuilt. So we've actually been having quite a blast. As you can see by all this steel here, we have been starting to work through our lengths of steel, which means we're at the stage where we're actually installing stuff on the vehicle. So if you haven't been looking at the shorts that have been popping up, we are now in the phase of building all the sides. So the front is going to be a little bit more delayed because I want to get this main section in. I don't want to leave too much stuff that's like open and not welded. So once we get to a certain point, we'll put probably the roof frame up, brace all of that up so when we weld the sides they don't warp too much. Try and hold it together without having to do too much straightening once we get to that. So yeah, we'll probably leave this front off for a minute until we get all of this. But we've finished these front frames up. We've got our extra bits in here. We've still got brackets and stuff to go over here, plates. We've got this here, which is the original shape, the original curve. It's the same as you can see behind. These are all the same curve. So what we've done, we've got square section down there. If you have a look along the side there, the bus actually flares out now to the bottom point of where the battery will be. So yeah, we've got different profiles along here. They were not too bad to press up. And as we move along, we've got all this new stuff up here. We've got one more to go in here. But everything, we've gone a little bit heavier than originally was in there because 40 by 50 is pretty hard to find for some of this stuff. So we just gone with 50 by 50. And yeah, it was a little bit fun building this whole whole project because basically what's happened is the main frames are not quite parallel. So the back is wider than the front, which makes everything rather interesting. As you can see out there, you can see our cross braces. So basically how I've put this together is we put the bottom section in. It also steps down 25 mil. So the first stage was to put this bottom section in. We made up these little droppers here. So they went in and then we put our section in there. We're very flat along the side now, which is quite good. The back's a little bit high. I don't know if you can see it along there, but back's a little bit high, but we can adjust that as we start putting these extra braces in. So put them on, put our sides on, then we've basically leveled it, then we've gone back through. So if you cut these to the right length, therefore that's the width of the bus. So measure off your rails, one side, the other side, then you square, which is where the fun stuff begins, because when you're squaring this out, it has been a mission. So nothing seems to be square on this vehicle previously. It's been rather interesting. And then obviously you chuck in your top stays and then you do a left right measurement and square it up. So we're within over 8,000 millimeters. We are now within 2 mil, which is beautiful. But yeah, there's a bit of head scratching going on because at the front here we've got about an 8 or 9 mil gap on this side, and it's pretty much hard up on the other side. So the front end is not square or parallel or anything is not square on this vehicle. These are the only ones that were actually square with the original body on the outside. All the ones at the back were not square. So all of these ones here around the fuel tanks were like squared off the main rails, which means that these were all forward, which means that when you put a straight edge across, nothing was square. So there has been a few challenges with that. So once that roof frame's up, we'll do a big weld out before any weather gets in and we get water in the tubes, which can cause corrosion. What else are we up to? Oh, we got the differential here, still in exactly the same spot, but we managed to track down it took ages, some parts from the USA. That is a 3.36 that was originally in there, and we're going to be moving to a 6.83, which gives us about a 3,000 RPM at 100 Ks, which gives us right in the peak power band for the electric motor, which has arrived. I've pulled it out, looks lovely. It's very small, so this is quite light. The controller is in there as well, so very excited about getting to that stage, which is a ways off. There's been about 2 months of drawing has happened with slide out solar. Custom solar is on its way. We've got now about 500 of the 1400 batteries have been tested. Today we had some nutserts arrive. So we got capped end nutserts. These are the ends all capped off, so you can't get rust or anything. They're also countersunk, which are very hard to find in Australia, so they come in, especially being stainless steel. Not much has happened in the front of the technology side of things. We're still tracking away with all the parts. That's just a quick update. There's a whole heap of shorts going up. I'm kind of trying not do too many of these from now on, only once we get sort of to a point where there's a bit more bits and pieces have been happening. Got a little truck which will end up going behind the bus at some point, so this is pretty cool because it's actually got a rear motor behind here. I don't know if any of you have seen these, but the motor is in the rear, which is pretty cool. It's more like a Porsche or a Combi. I need to push in on that. Come down. So yeah, I've had a little bit of work to do on this, so it hasn't all been bus, but yeah, this is kind of cool. It's going to end up with an EV swap at some stage as well, but try not to go too far off track with what's going on with the project, and I appreciate you tuning in and hearing an update. Till next time.